Hello and welcome into this new video. Today we're stitching together the square neck um, jersey top for women, square neckline. This is we have here the top, the top part, and also the part that goes inside. The facing that is pretty long, you see. I made it this way because I like that it goes over the bust and a little bit under it. So I know we use some more fabric, but I think it's perfect how the result. Okay, so this is it. First thing you're gonna do is stitch the shoulders, both of the facing and the top. And the next thing, sorry, right side stitching. Here we are on the wrong side. And now we are going to stitch the neckline. We're going to stitch it and then we're going to stabilize it, okay? So now we're going to put the right side stitching, the neckline of the facing and of the top. Here it is, center front and center back matching, the stitching. Here it is important that one stitching goes in one direction and the other in the other direction, okay? Here we're going to have the perfect matching, okay, of the seams, and also we don't create the bulk, okay, by putting the stitching in one direction. Okay, one thing, you can finish here if you want the raw edges of the facing. I don't usually because it doesn't fray, but if you want, you can do it, okay? So this is the time to do it before we start stitching. Okay, then if you want, do it. Now we're going to stitch all around. While you're stitching, please be careful, don't pull. Just leave it this way. The more we pull, the more difficult it will be to stabilize it. So let's stitch all around the neckline with a stretch stitch. I'm going to do it with the overlocker. Here it is. Now we have to absolutely stabilize this neckline. Otherwise, it's going to get deformed and look awful. So you can do it with, if you already know how to do it, you can do it with your favorite method. The clear elastic, some kind of tape that is cut on grain line. So in Italy we have this, we use this one, which is called bindello. This is what I use usually, or some kind of grain line tape. But by grain line, I mean it's cut on grain line like this. So it doesn't stretch, okay? So this, if we sew this kind of tape into the neckline, it will make sure it does not stretch, okay? So if you're using clear elastic, I don't, because I use this one. Just be sure to stretch it nicely before you start. Stretch it a lot, and then you stitch it. And while you stitch it, you need to pull it a little bit. So if you know how to use this, use this. If you don't, then use some kind of tape that does not stretch, okay? Usually, one other thing you can do is cut the lining, a very thin lining. I will leave you instructions how to do that inside the file. So I'm going to use this, okay? So it has to be the measure of the neckline. I don't measure, I just start and stitch it inside the stitching all around, and then I cut the excess. Okay, so we're going to do this method. Another method is the one of using interfacing, fusible interfacing tape on the neckline to stabilize it. I know that is another method. So if you're familiar with that one, you can use that one. Okay, so any method is good as long as you stabilize this neckline nicely. Okay. For those of you who have never done this, you can watch this, follow this tutorial, and I will leave you instruction on how to cut the lining to get the tape. Or the best thing to do is to go into your local shop where you usually shop for supplies, sewing supplies, and ask what kind of tape you can use. Okay, something that is firm, something that doesn't stretch, but it is thin. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is stitch inside this stitching here. So I'm going to stitch the tape and stitch here, okay, in this stitching. So I started from the center back and I'm going to finish on the center back. Okay, so stitch all around, look into the stitching and where the needle goes, go into the stitching all around. Okay, all around I stitched the tape and finished here, overlapped and finished. Okay, now we're going to stitch. Okay, this is the facing. So we're going to keep the seam allowance here on the facing, and I'm going to stitch right here into it near all around. So the stitching will help keep the facing inside the top. Okay, so it doesn't get out like this. Okay, so this is the facing. I start from the center back. I have a special foot that helps me go near the edge. If you don't, just keep your eyes on the needle and slowly, see, go all around. So here it is, all around, stitched to the facing near the edge. The next step is to steam iron all around nicely, and our neckline is done. And so here it is, all around, nice, flat, beautiful, clean finished. Okay, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.